Welcome back to my channel, friends. Thanks for joining me. I want to introduce you to my co-star for this video, the Ring Light Glare. Today I am going to be sharing a few cards that I made using a Colorful Life stencils. This seller is new to me. They have a great variety of stencils on their website at a great price. You see I picked up way too many of them, and so I'm just going to pick 2 or 3 and make some cards today. I will link the website in the description box below. I believe it's acolorfullife.com, but I'll double check that and link it. And that is not an affiliate link. Check them out. They are really fun. I'm starting out with some pieces of Neenah Exact Index cardstock. This is 110 pound. It's the cardstock that I use for all of my card bases and the white elements in any mini albums that I make. I find it much more economical than Neenah Solar White, and it holds up just as well. So I always have that linked in the description box below if you ever want to check it out. For this one, I'm just coming in with some seedless preserves, and I will surround that by some wilted violet. I am using a blending brush with blending foams here. I did get a little shifting, which is fine, but if I had planned this out better, I would have taped down the edges a little more secure. For stencils with these great patterns, I do try to kind of follow the pattern with some of the color. You see I highlighted one particular section on that panel. And for this one, I shift the cardstock just a little bit so that I can get kind of a different look. That first one did have some bleeding, like I said, but I end up using it in a card anyway. It wasn't too bad once I stepped away from it and then took another look. The next stencil that I'm using is much like a sunburst. If I would have thought about it, I would have done one layer of stenciling and then shifted it a little bit and stenciled it again, but I didn't do that. It still turns out pretty good. I'm using squeezed lemonade here and twisted citron. The twisted citron is really light here. I thought it would show up and be much more vivid. It could have just been that I didn't have enough on my foam. I really do like the way it came out, but it's really kind of hard to see the contrast between the yellow and the green on the video. And so each of these stencils I'm putting aside because we're going to print them in a second. This next stencil is a really cool mid-century modern pattern. I taped the card panel to the back just at a slight angle. I have Peacock Feather and Mermaid Lagoon, but I'm going to start out with some Weathered Wood, which is just a color that I'm in love with right now because I'm not sure if it is blue or gray, but it kind of blends seamlessly with some of these other colors. I add a layer across, just following the stencil like I've done before, even though the card panel is at an angle. I put one layer down of the inks, and then I come back after and do a little more blending to kind of get them to blend together. This one I really love the kind of choice that I made of colors here. I really like the end result for this one. And here I come back with those blending foams, just with the ink that's on there already to blend them. Since my stencils are all covered in ink, I'm going to go ahead and take some pieces of Strathmore mixed media paper, spray them down with a little bit of water, and then spray the stencil down with some water and make a print. I only use a couple of these in the cards. One of them I didn't like the result at all, and I like to use the Distress sprayer. I use it all over my craft room now just because it's always filled with water, but I also get the small spray bottles from the dollar store, Dollar Tree. They come in a 2-pack, they're plastic. You may have seen them in my previous videos, and they have a really light mist spray that I like to use for this as well. So both of these are misted, and I lay that stencil down and just kind of press down to get some of that ink to adhere to that mixed media paper. So the initial result is just okay, but I figure I have a little bit more ink, so I'm going to take that ink, get it onto that surface, the glass surface. This is the We Are glass surface mat. I'm not sure what the retail name of it is, but I was wanting this particular mat for quite some time and just kept my eye open for sales and coupons and things at my local Joann's and got it for pretty inexpensive. So I was happy about that. And I like the white media mat compared to the black surface. Just it's easier for me to see it, see the ink, and so I opted for this one. I sprayed down the stencil, got that ink onto the media mat, and then just picked up some more of that ink onto that paper that we already did that print onto. Nothing too fancy. Once it dries, I really like the way it turned out. The mat, of course, is really easy to clean off. I just spritzed it with a little more water, and since we're using water-based inks, it just kind of picks everything up, and I have a clean surface to continue. And then I do a couple more of these prints. Again, mixed media paper, spritz it with water, spray the stencil with a little bit of water, and then this time I put the paper onto the stencil, which seemed a little easier in this case. And my edges are starting to curl up just because, of course, it's absorbing the water. So I just took a paper towel and tried to not only grab up some of that extra ink, but to press it down evenly so that I get kind of even coverage on that piece of mixed media paper. This one looks fantastic, and it shows up even better after it dries. For these cards, I'm using the oversized Hey Hi Hello print die set from Waffle Flower. I'm using the hay with the shadow today. I cut out quite a few of these, and some of them I glued down to the shadow, and others I did not. So I would have a variety and some options. I cut down some black panels and adhered the inked panels to them. I'm using A2 size card bases today. I tried to give the look on some of these of just small strips of the matting layer on two sides. It's a little different than I do it usually. I just do it in a rectangle and fit it inside a larger rectangle. So it's a little different for me. And then grabbed my sentiments and put them all together. For this sentiment, I'm using the scrapbooks.com glitter pen. It's like a Wink of Stella pen. It gives a glittery, shiny finish. It's a really great tool to keep in your toolbox to just add a little something extra, and I will link it down below. And just for good measure, I add a variety of sequins or enamel dots to these cards. And here are the completed cards. This one I put a white sentiment just offset a little bit on top of a black to give that look of a shadow. And that looks like a hidden Mickey, but it's really not, but it probably is. Now, this one I really love. I had that weathered wood gray color, so I layered this on a gray piece of cardstock and used some enamel dots. I actually had some black sequins on there previously, but realized I had the gray enamel dots, so switched them out. This is the one with the sunburst. It has the yellow and the green. Like I said, next time I use this, I'll probably offset the stencil and ink it a second time to get more of those rays, but I like the way this one came out. This one I used enamel dots inside the ink dots. This is a really fun pattern. I love it a lot. Here I offset the sentiment just to the right a bit to show off that burst of the seedless preserve color that I really love. And here is, I think, the star of the show. I love the stencil and these colors. I really like the way they mix together. I did put the hay sentiment on a white shadow, and it just gives that little outline to pull it away from that background. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider supporting my channel so that I can bring you more easy card and mini album makes. You can click the Buy Me a Coffee link below, which allows you to make a tiny donation to my channel. Thanks for watching.